You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information. This is episode 287 of the one and only IT.
And that was
the D Show.
Lisa in the culture.
God, shut up. We have two great guests tonight. Segment 2, we're going to be joined by Anthony Hughes. He's the CEO of Tech Elevator, a new training company in town. Many locations in the Midwest. They are just branching off from Detroit. Hung out with him. Awesome guy. We should have a fun conversation. Also, return offender, Andre Arbelaez is in the house. He's the founder of HC3. He hangs out with Hispanic C-levels and around the country. Just kidding. You are the connector. You are the facilitator of pretty much any Hispanic C-level of every IT company in the country. Had him on before. Great conversation. But hey, what makes a data breach the worst breach of all time? How about losing our social security numbers, the keys to our identity? How about losing 145 million of them? Breach is a podcast that takes you inside the world's biggest hacks, how they're done and who does them, and what's really at stake when your private data is compromised. And this season, they're investigating the worst breach ever, Equifax. Good God.
We've talked about that once or twice.
Dun, dun, dun. Listen to season 2 of Breach, the Equifax story. This time it's personal. Subscribe to Breach. That's BREACH in your podcast app right now. Dave, you may fire when ready. You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.
Following program is intended for mature audiences.
It's I Love the 80s, and this is 1987.
This is Max Headroom, and what you're about to witness is one of the most sinister-sounding intros to a trailer to one of the greatest epics ever.
This is Billy D. Williams. Bob and Dave and I are enjoying a Colt 45 right now. And remember, IT in the D, it works every time.
You pretend you like me, and we go out for just a few weeks. And that will make me popular.
Just where do you guys think you are?
The Library of Congress? Detroit?
Beyond the sun?
Any of those right?
Take him to Detroit. No! No, not Detroit! No! No, please! Anything but that! No!
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Then don't come! Shut up!
Well, baby, me so horny. Me so horny. You keep lying. Me love you long time.
Hi, this is Christy Swanson, and you're listening to the IT in the D Show. And Bob and Dave touch my hoo-hoos.
I'm too old for this shit.
This is Guilfoyle from Silicon Valley, and the only two guys I hate more than Dinesh are Bob and Dave. Suck it, guys.
Good morning, Vietnam!
What's up, everybody? This is Billy Zapka. Sweep the leg. Listening to IT in the D Show. No mercy.
Hey guys, it's Time Hawk, Bruce Leroy from The Last Dragon. You're listening to the IT and D Show.
Hey everybody, this is Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man. You're listening to IT and the D. And if you want to get your money's worth, stay right here. And remember, everybody's got a price for the $1 Million Man.
My God, vibrator repair.
No, ma'am. Los Angeles Police Department.
Hi, I'm Ernie Hudson, and you're listening to IT and the D. All you nerds out there.
Nerds.
Nerds! What is a nerd?
Hi, this is Ogre. You listen to a bunch of nerds on the IT and the D? Nerd.
I'm a nerd, and I'm pretty proud of it.
Hey, Detroit, this is Anthony Michael Hall. You're listening to my buddies Bob and Dave on IT in the D.
There's a shortage of perfect breasts in this world. It would be a pity to damage yours.
Hey, what up? This is Jay Muse, and you're listening to the IT and D Show. Snooch to the nooch. Listen, Muse, Snoogans.
I'll buy that for $1.
This is Scott Steiner, Big Pump. The IT and the D Show is your hookup. Holler if you hear me.
One thing about living in Santa Carla I never could stomach. All the damn vampires.
This is Robert Hayes, the Ted Stryker to my mother. When I'm not hanging out at the Magumbo bar, I'm listening to the IT and the D Show. It's worse than Detroit.
I'm from Detroit. This is the IT and D Show. This is Tiny Lister Debo from the hit movie Friday. Keep your lights on, because I still got the bicycle. Now get that mic out my face.
Nobody puts baby in the corner.
Hey folks, this is WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and you're listening to the IT and the D Show. Tough guy. Ho!
Hi, this is Kelly LeBrock from Weird Science. Bob and Dave, what would you little maniacs like to do first?
Without further ado, it's time to start running!
The question isn't what are we going to do, the question is what aren't we going to do.
Ludicrous speed! Sir, had you better buckle up? Buckle this! Ludicrous speed! Go!
Welcome back. Thanks for hanging out with us. Pre-apologies. Both Dave and I are coming off of the illness of all ages, so my
Dude,
voice
there's a plague going around, and everybody knows there's a plague going around. If you're in the state of Michigan, you're either just getting done being sick, you are sick, or you're about to be sick. So just get used to it.
So my voice is shot. I've been doped up on NyQuil. We'll talk about that in a minute. But this is episode 287 of the one and only IT in the D Show, broadcasting live here in Studio One in Podcast Detroit in beautiful Royal Oak, Michigan. This is Bob the Sales Guy. That is Dave the Geek. Nuri the FNG is out on assignment. Find us on, Randy, I do the Twitters, is in studio.
Right,
Find us
here
online, itinthed.com, and do us a favor, give us a like on the socials and subscribe to us everywhere fine podcasts are sold.
Yeah, so had a great time Saturday with the Shot of History crew. They did their 3rd anniversary show, recorded about 6 episodes over at Old Shillelagh. That was a blast. It's always granted, it's always drinking because it's Shot of History. But great crew. Mikey was great. Shillelagh was great. Life was good. Good times.
Exactly. So mark your calendars. We got a whole bunch of stuff going on tomorrow night. Fat Tuesday, probably the worst day to have an event. But,
Thanks for the support.
It's Fat Tuesday. We're all going to be in Hamtramck. Or at least those of us that can. You guys are going to be at Haymaker.
Yep, we'll be at Haymaker, downtown Ann Arbor, 5 o'clock. Find us behind the bar. End of the bar.
Or
behind the bar.
There is no hay, but they do have makers.
Mark,
exactly.
I mean, if you show up and want a Haymaker, I'll punch you, sure.
Oh, yay.
Nice. And then we've got Toledo. We'll be in Toledo this weekend at Fantasticon. Always a good, fun time, and it's only an hour away. So if you really, really just want to see us drunk and stupid and come on a great dive bar crawl with us.
And make fun of Dirk Manning.
That's absolutely what we do.
All right. Third Thursday.
And then the 21st, we will be at Embrew.
Our first Embrew of this year. In the basement with all the pinball machines and the Star Wars video games.
Yep.
And hopefully Chelsea will give me the remote to the jukebox. And
that memory just bubbled up, actually, from when we had our first event there. Like, Chelsea gave Bob the remote. Game over.
Yeah. No, that's a great place if you've never been there. It's literally a house next to Valentine Vodka.
Yep. And great pizza, great drinks, good times.
And good bartenders, good beer.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what's going on this week?
I don't know.
Other than being sick.
How's the NyQuil treating you?
I haven't taken NyQuil in probably 12 years.
The sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, what the hell happened to my pants medicine?
How the hell did I wake up on How the hell did I wake up on the kitchen floor medicine?
Right.
So my first dose was Friday night. My wife gives it to me. And the dreams you have on NyQuil are unlike anything you've ever
Well, it's alcohol and barbiturates. So, I mean, that's a thing.
I woke up on the couch. I thought I was in Tahiti.
I hear it's a magical place.
It's my couch. It was all weekend. But that stuff knocks you the F out.
Oh, yeah.
Unlike any. And then you even wake up in the morning and it's hard.
Oh, and you got brain fog. You absolutely have brain fog from NyQuil. Which is part of the fun.
So I had NyQuil Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night.
That's why I've always said, so you take 2 Sudafed and a double shot of NyQuil. And then if you wake up,
I was going to say,
14 hours later, everything's pretty much out of your system.
Usually that was going on a whiskey. Yeah, going on
the NyQuil puts you to sleep and the Sudafed gets your heart pumping. So
your mileage may vary. I'm also the vodka Red Bull guy. What do you want from me?
I always thought I was just going to get whiskey drunk. That was always my.
Yeah.
We used to do that when we were in college. Oh my God, I'm getting sick. Come on, let's go out and get shit faced, and then you'd feel better, and then you didn't know why. You just hoped it was because of that. Anyway,
so I found this interesting. Lyft is paying Amazon Web Services.
Wait for it. $8 million
per month.
So hold on. Here's the sales guy in me knows your commission when you sell a monthly recurring at that price. That rep, I don't think he works at Amazon anymore. That's probably
why would he leave? Why would you just not keep those checks coming?
Well, because he's not going to get paid until the renewal, and there's no way they renew that freaking contract.
I was going to say, at this point, does AWS even need salespeople? Like, everybody knows about it.
No, they do. They hire for global accounts, for marquee customers, for alliances. Actually, they have a huge sales staff locally in Detroit. But yeah, $8 million a month.
Yeah, it was part of their financial disclosure where they're on the hook for it's $300 million throughout whatever the term of the contract is.
2021 is the end.
And it boils down to $8 million a year. Month. Sorry, $8 million a month. Yeah,
which is probably the highest hosting bill I could even imagine.
Yeah, dude, that's like worse. Yeah, like I thought it was bad when like episode 1 hit and I had my stupid Star Wars websites and everybody hosted the stupid trailer and crushed all the bandwidth ever.
But if you were going to tell me like, what does General Motors pay if they put everything in the cloud? What would they pay a month? I don't even think it would hit $1 million, and that's General Motors.
Probably not.
Right.
Well, for what and
you're looking
they couldn't
at everything.
Put like the plant sequencing and all that shit. They couldn't put in the cloud.
No, but if you look at
the
everything,
stuff they could, yeah,
the big data.
Yep.
If they have old AS400s, if you put all that in the cloud, what they would pay, like, and I know what it costs, like for just a general, like for just a server full.
So once again, you don't own anything.
No.
And yet you have an $8 million a month hosting bill.
What do they? I mean, let's take what do they put on it? Like, they have customer data. Right?
I'm guessing all the location info for all the cars.
That's great.
Sits there.
Right? I know
it's probably just all the throughput.
But I know I did a project for an automotive where they were collecting all the autonomous vehicle. They were collecting video. They were driving up and down Germany, collecting video, and then they were sequencing signage and bushes and trees and overhead bridges and things of that nature. And they were each car had a pretty beefy server in the back. And that was like $4 million a year for everything. And this is $8 million a month. Like what are they seriously, what are they doing?
I got nothing.
I'd love to know.
So from the lies that everyone tells us that we like to pretend we believe department, you've got it's United Airlines and Delta who said, hey, those really like cool fancy screens that are on the backs of the seats in front of you? There's a camera in them, but we've never turned them on.
Well, again, this goes back to the original phone. Don't you track me, but Google Maps better effing work when I want it to. So like here I am now going to Vegas, and I'm like, I got to watch 2 movies there and 2 movies on the way back. I got to watch Bohemian Rhapsody and Skyscraper, which was a turd. Don't watch it. But The Rock, I know, The Rock's in it. I'll watch it. Oh, turd.
Fail.
But like, so you're giving up getting to watch movies with a camera on you now. So now, there's some schleb.
Which why? I'm trying to understand the why.
He picked his nose 4 times and no, but like, what do you
is it a counterterrorism thing?
What are you looking for?
Yeah.
No, because, facial recognition database.
Are you
Facebook.
Trying to break the Mile High Club people.
No, it's not why. They're not in the ladies' toilet. But
you don't know.
That's why, though. Facial recognition database. Now, if they got a fake ID and they buy a plane ticket. It's all coming to fruition.
So, and then another dumb thing, dude, we talk a lot about some cool stuff that happens in Australia, but this is like one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life.
No, this is the dumbest, like ever.
I don't know that I would go there, but it's top 10. They're letting people put you get customized license plates, and you can put an emoji on your license plate now.
Just one, or can you do multiple?
Oh, I think multiple. But I'm sorry. What was the license plate of the car that hit you? Winky face, cash bag, avocado poop.
Well, they have restricted it. You can choose from 5: laughing out loud, winking face, cool sunglasses, heart eyes, and smiley face.
Oh, there you can't have your eggplant one now, Randy.
No eggplant.
And I can't have my poop one, which I totally would. Well, who hit you? It said poop and then the poop emoji. Bob. Double poop.
To have the customized plate, it will be between 160 and 500 Australian dollars.
But like Nancy,
I'm sorry, the digital license plate was still dumber.
Nancy Kerrigan says, like, why? Like, seriously, did you ever walk in there and go, you know what I really would love for like a winking emoji?
Dude, I still don't understand the people that get their college license plate.
Only if it says a word.
Like I don't.
Like if you have the S and you go Sparty, like party,
Fine,
with the S, I'm down with that.
But I don't get
S and Spencer.
Yeah.
Did he do that?
Yeah.
What a butthole.
Yeah.
No, you don't remember that? Yeah, I wonder whose car that is.
Yeah,
You know,
I don't. I blocked that off my memory real quick.
Yes, I
Even the whole, it's all money grab anyway. So, granted, I'm the asshole that has Chervik on the back of his old Cadillac.
Well,
for Caddyshack, like some obscure character, like the most ridiculous. And I'm too lazy just to get a regular plate because it's too easy to go to the kiosk to get my damn tabs. Idiot.
Meh.
Exactly.
So again, we've talked about this a bajillion times. The butthurt Star Wars fanboys are out in force again already. Episode 9.
For what you wouldn't even think is possible.
Yeah. Episode 9 isn't
Well, it's
even
not possible anymore.
They shut it off.
Yeah.
They shut it off.
Episode 9 isn't even out yet. The butthurt fanboys were all flocking to Rotten Tomatoes that had a feature called Looking Forward to Seeing or Want to See, and they were trashing that.
There's not even a title.
Yeah.
It's not even named
Rotten
yet.
Tomatoes has dropped reviews for unreleased movies now, which makes sense. Like,
Right?
why would you leave a review for a movie you haven't even seen?
How?
But between Episode 9 and Captain Marvel, because apparently
That one's getting shit too.
yeah, because it has a woman star.
That's not why.
That's why.
If it's not released yet, why wouldn't that be the reason?
No, she said some stuff about like male reporters, and she's getting flack from both sides, and then it's all overblown garbage. Can't I just see the movie with my kids and shut the F up?
Right.
Like for real. But like this whole Star Wars thing, how rough is your life?
No, how empty, sad, and pathetic is your life?
You're spending precious time.
And that's right. Go ahead and bring on the bad reviews because we relish them and print them and frame them.
Yeah. But like where you're trashing them, like how do you like you already like A, don't go see it,
right,
and then shut your trap,
right. I think they're mad now because now that Solo has been out on Netflix and they saw it and they realized they were wrong to be butthurt about that, so now they've transferred their butthurt to 9.
So it's so funny because like the few friends that we have, they're like, I won't see it.
Oh yeah,
F them, I won't see it. Just watch it, then they watch it. Go, yeah, it was pretty.
That
good.
was really good.
Yeah.
You
just real
right.
quiet. Yeah, you guys were right.
But if you don't know, Rotten Tomatoes is owned by Fandango, so they have incentive. Who's going to buy tickets for a movie that has horrible reviews? So they had incentive to turn off this.
Am I the only?
feature.
Am I the like if it says good Rotten Tomatoes, I actually watch it.
I've never bought tickets through Fandango.
Oh, I do all the time.
I've never bought tickets through
Yeah,
Fandango.
and there's a wrestler Fandango, so I was walking going Fandango
I
with the wrestler.
I had a little because I only go to AMC theaters. I have a little AMC app on my phone. That's what I use.
Yeah, AMC Fandango does AMC and do the same crap, just different app. Who gives?
I don't. I just said I'm not using Fandango.
Then don't. I give
That's
a
all
shit.
I said.
Don't watch the movie. I give a shit. Right.
USB branding continues to suck. Did you read that?
Yes.
Oh my god.
I tried so hard to like wrap my head around because like there was USB and there's USB 2 and then there's USB 3. Then they're retroactively making that USB 3.0.
No, then there's USB C.
And then there's USB C.
Oh, yeah, I'm thinking,
and then 3 version 1, which is that. And now there's going to be 3.1.2 and then 3.2. And that, dude, can't just let me
3.2 Gen 2 by 2.
Right. Just why can't I just plug shit into my computer?
Spaceballs. 1, 2. Right. Plug it upside down, and then you
the
have
first
to,
time.
Right.
Always.
Can't you make USB where it doesn't have to go? Can it just go in
put the
one
thing
way?
in the middle.
Right.
Well,
put the
announce-
thing in the
like
middle. Ethernet. You can't get Ethernet wrong.
Announced today USB 4, which will be using the USB-C connector exclusively and will be a superset or incorporate features from Thunderbolt 3. So we'll have the universal either way, up or down is right. But it's called USB 4.
We should have gotten the dongle business. That's where the money's at. Forget all that other
Doing it
garbage.
wrong.
Right. Quit writing code.
I'm sure we can bring just containers full in from China cheap. We should just set up a kiosk.
Alibaba.
We'll set up a kiosk at DSC.
Right.
selling dongles. Screw
Right.
the German stuff.
Yeah.
Screw the pretzels.
Hair weaves and dongles.
But yeah, this is super confusing to consumers because USB 3.2, does that mean you're getting 5 gigabits per second? Are you getting 10 gigabits per second? Or are you getting 20 gigabits per second? You can't tell just because it's 3.2. You have to go with a full name in order to.
Oh.
Or they have super confusing names like Super Speed Plus or whatever, which... How are you going to remember which Super Speed versus Super Speed Plus?
I remember when I had Best Buy install my TV and I bought the HDMI cables online because they were like $7 versus like the $99. And the guys were like,
Got it. Hey, man, you need monster cables?
no, they were like, oh, these are bad, man. And I read the specs and I go, and they still work today. And it's been 8 years of just reused them because I had to run them through the wall. So when I got the new TV, I just still work fine. Buttholes.
Geniuses.
Exactly. So the parent outrage story of the week is our favorite Momo. And so like any good parent, I have 2 teenagers and a 5-year-old. And there's stories of my 5-year-old finding like Peppa Pig, like saying F-bombs and shit. Like my mom told me like, you know what Annie's listening to? I'm like, what? No, what? I remember ranting about it on this show. How much you suck as a human where you're like dubbing over Peppa Pig. But like Momo comes out and then like every news station on the planet. So they're talking about it's on WhatsApp and it's on YouTube and like 21 kids in Russia killed themselves and it tells you to do bad things with knives. And,
nobody.
Right. That's what it's supposedly telling you. And then
nobody
you go on YouTube and then there's like 3,000 reaction videos and like, I saw Momo. Clickbait.
Which you didn't.
And then YouTube actually had to come out with a thing going, we've scoured the YouTubes, which is like 47 quadrillion hours of
years of data. Yeah.
And there's nothing. Zero.
And in fact, but like the rumors and stories got so bad that the artist that actually created that character filmed a video destroying the doll.
It was creepy as shit. It
was a statue he made for a special effects
like
company.
Japanese anime or something.
But like he was like, he was like, hey parents, I'm retiring this character. If your kid gets freaked out, show them this video. It's dead. Momo's dead.
Right. But
everything's fine.
But I knew it was garbage when I usually drive my 14-year-old to school first. I got 3 kids in 3 schools. It's an amazing morning for me every morning. So I'm taking Gretchen to school and I said, hey, what's up with this Momo thing? She goes, what are you talking about? I'm like, okay, it's not a thing.
Then it's not a thing.
Right, because she always, I'm like, Dad, I was like last week and shit, it's so old.
You don't even know what a meme is.
Memes are stupid. It's not even a meme, right? So like, if it was last week, it's not funny. Like I need to be so like literally it needs to be a minute ago or it's not funny. So I knew it was garbage. But like now.
Your daughter is Reddit.
But like again, here's the news media publishing like outrage articles unsubstantiated, right? How often this year have they been caught with their pants down writing about utter
shit that doesn't exist?
Shit.
Yeah.
That right. And it doesn't get everyone worked up, but it gets every soccer mom going, I gotta do some, like they spend a couple hours probably questioning their kid.
Something in your refrigerator will kill you. Tune in at 11 to find out what it is.
Your kid might kill themselves with a knife tonight, so you better like shit. That's scary, man. Like you don't know. Enough crap's out there. But like whoever. Again, there's someone on 4chan right now going, hee, I made USA Today. Hee. I'm in every news article in the country. Right, that's their stamp. They've got them all framed in their bedroom.
That hacker known as 4chan is a jerk.
Right.
Thank you, Randy.
So there's finally starting to be blowback about the whole District Detroit thing from more than just like the fringe. Like you've had like, the Terrible Illages page that's out there, that's been harping about this stuff forever. You've had a bunch of other stuff going on. You finally had Crames, which has basically been a cheerleader for the Illage all along and never questioned a thing, come out over the past few days with, okay, yeah, maybe there's some shit here that we should dig a little bit more into. And no, there's not shit happening the way that it was supposed to. And yeah, oh, by the way, because there's none of this shit happening, when the city went to refinance the bond, they caught a lot of crap. It was a harder time refinancing everything because they haven't done what they said they were going to do. And so part of the story was just like how hard Olympia is to work with. And like some of the other stories were, basically Olympia owns the land. The developer has to rent the land takes full responsibility for paying for the building that, oh, by the way, Olympia still gets a percentage of, and has final say on all of the construction details. I mean, basically, you're paying out all this money for Olympia to build a building.
But it's up to the city now to say, hey, you promised this, we're going to start fining you for everything you didn't do, right? Most cities do that.
That's what should have been happening
for years now. You look at every city in Oakland County, they would have been on that 10 seconds ago. It's back on the city. Like when you had the train station sitting and you didn't send Matty Maroon one bill.
Yeah.
Right? For all those years. That's on you. Like if Village sits on it because they're not making money because they're not selling any tickets, I get that. Right? That place is a quarter full every night.
Oh, LCA?
Yeah.
The dojo.
It's not the dojo.
It's the dojo.
It's the pizzeria.
It's the dojo.
You're the dojo. So with being sick all weekend, I had a lot of time. I had a lot of YouTube time. But that and playing Far Cry New Dawn, which is awesome, by the way.
Which must have been great on NyQuil.
Oh, it was. Oh, that seriously, it's whoever writes Far Cry, they're like some tripped out people. The Joe Rogan, Alex Jones 4-hour and 40-minute podcast was everything you'd ever thought it would be and more. If you didn't think Alex Jones was a complete raving lunatic before, you seriously need to watch this podcast. And God love Rogan, right? They're smoking blunts, they're drinking, they're talking about fighting each other. Alex Jones, who's probably the worst conversationalist I've ever met in my life, pretty much talked over Rogan. Like they didn't talk. They didn't with each other. Alex Jones is just spewing. And he's going from everything about the Nazis were controlled by the aliens, or the aliens gave him the ideas, to the cell towers are doing mind control, to we hydrogen bomb the clouds to screw up the atmosphere. This guy went on, and the best part
has he just watched They Live one too many times?
No, here's the best part. Rogan's like, wait, they're doing what? Like, so he's like playing into it. You could almost see it in his eyes. He's playing, and he's like, oh yeah, they're, the cell towers of 5G, they're doing it for make us all docile so they can control us. And he's like, where does it say this? And he's like, oh, it's in the literature. And Rogan's like, what literature? I want to read it. He goes, oh, it's in the book. So like, he wouldn't cite any, Alex Jones, like, he wouldn't cite a goddamn thing. But like, oh, you should know this. It's in the book. You follow this, Rogan. You're a smart guy. It's in the book. Like, what book?
Wow.
So 4 hours of that. Like, outlandish statement, Rogan going, what? And then him going, oh, it's in the book. Like, they're talking about shit that like would make your head spin. Like,
it's Alex Jones. I would expect that.
Right. Well, in the beginning, I was like, okay, this is going to be. And the funny thing is, like, I always get mad at you for getting up and coughing. That's all Rogan. Like, I got to piss. Like, he gets up in the middle of his podcast. Dude, have you ever said I got to piss on this show? Like, I blow my lid. Like, he's like, I got to, like, 3 times I got to piss, talk. So then Alex Jones is sitting there just running in his mouth. And like, if you're ever on YouTube, they have him shortened up in like little 8-10 minute clips on each specific topic. Dude, you got to watch a couple. Like, it's unbelievable.
Apparently, Asian people are transformers.
Is that what he said? I didn't catch that part.
When they get into a fight, they all sync up and are robots that have no real fear.
What? But apparently there's like the patent. I can't even. Like the cell phone towers, there was like a patent that like emits a certain frequency and like messes with people's heads, and it's supposed to be a proven fact. And like, dude, it was.
I can walk out under power lines with a fluorescent light, and it'll light up.
Right.
But
no, it won't.
Yeah, no, yeah, well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, really well.
Let's go do that.
You've never done that?
No.
Oh, that's totally a thing.
All right, so we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to put fluorescent lights under a electrical thing. And we're going to come back with Anthony Hughes. He's from Tech Elevator. This is the IT in the D Show.
Hey, we'll be right back.
IT in the D. Read, meet, listen. Networking Detroit, one beer at a time.
Hey, this is John Schneider from Nip Tuck Smallville, the haves and the have-nots. Oh, Dr. Quinn, Hot in Cleveland, Secret Life of the American Teenager, and just about everything you can possibly imagine. And oh yeah, the Dukes of Hazzard. You're listening to Bob and Dave. It's the IT in the D show.
ITinthed.com.
Welcome back. This is segment 2, episode 287 of the IT and the D Show, broadcasting live here in Studio 1 on Monday night here at Podcast Detroit in beautiful Royal Oak, Michigan. This is Bob the Sales Guy. That is Dave the Geek. Randy, I do the Twitters, is in studio. Find us online, itinthed.com. Because you want to know why? Because we are IT in the D.
And you're still not coming up on 6 years later. I felt like we should have done something. That's what, 9 days from now?
Buy a billboard, maybe.
It's 9 days from now. We should do something.
Hi. Hi.
Hey, before we get rolling, this episode is sponsored by Lenovo for Business. IT and security, they go together like users and user error. But keeping your entire organization secure is no easy task. And with your never-ending to-do list comprised of security updates, systems management, and user assistance, anything that can make your job a little easier makes a difference. Lenovo is here to be a difference maker for you by making your security to-do list a little bit lighter thanks to a suite of innovative technology, services, and support solutions. Take, for example, security offerings like ThinkShield, which includes a range of customizable products, processes, and partnerships perfect for any business. So whether you're looking for something as simple as laptops with built-in camera shutters or something more complex like a way to utilize virtualization to contain cyber attacks, Lenovo has you covered. Lenovo, putting the IT in security. To learn more about Lenovo for Business and see how they can make a difference for you, visit www.lenovo.com/SMB. That's www.lenovo.com/SMB.
So, hey, we are lucky enough to be joined. We met him about, 10 days ago, maybe 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Mr. Anthony Hughes. He is the CEO of Tech Elevator. How you doing?
I'm great. I'm glad to be here, guys.
Came in all the way from Cleveland just to be here.
Your inner Wendy Williams now that she's back on the air?
I don't know who that is.
You totally know who Wendy Williams is.
I never watched it.
How you doing?
I didn't say how you doing. How are you, kind sir? So we got to hang out with you, and just a long story short, you guys are doing code and boot camps, and we're like, oh no, welcome to Detroit. Let's see how this goes. But I'm not gonna lie, you guys really wowed us. So I guess talk to us about let's get into what Tech Elevator is, and we'll dive in a little deeper.
Yeah, so that was with my co-founder David Wintrick, who was originally the architect of Pay.gov. So, David is a technologist through and through, built a system that processes $150 billion a year, and has been it's been a great partnership. I'm the sales guy in the pairing.
Right.
He's the technologist.
So he makes fun of you all the time too?
Yeah. He sort of just pulls it behind my back.
Yeah.
It's a tried and true tradition. Don't knock it.
So, he and I came together in 2015 to found Tech Elevator. We didn't have any intention for world domination. We didn't have any intention to sort of spread in the way we have. We really came together to solve a tech talent shortage in Cleveland. And at the time, there were, I think, 6,700 software developer positions advertised in the market and 280 computer science grads coming out of the area schools. Wow. And I'd been working in economic development. I'd been part of a nonprofit called Jumpstart, and I'd been working to coach and advise early stage entrepreneurs on building tech startups. And I kept on seeing it over and over again. We were in a position where we could raise a little capital, we could find a product market fit, and when it came to scaling the business, we couldn't find any tech talent. And that was throttling the entrepreneurial ecosystem.
Right.
And David was at it from the other side of things. He was working for the Federal Reserve. They were building Pay.gov. They were scaling up their team. They had 120 people working on it, and they couldn't find any software developers. And so, we were on sort of these other ends of the spectrum, and we came together to create Tech Elevator to sort of essentially try and breathe more digital literacy into the market, but very much focused on Cleveland. And then subsequently, as we got the model to work in Cleveland, we started to open up in cities throughout the Rust Belt, throughout the Midwest.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, because you mentioned computer science degrees. One of the things that has finally happened is that companies are caring less and less about CS degrees and more about what can you actually do. So, I mean, so what does your boot camp or boot camps bring to the table?
Well, I think it's interesting because, yes, companies are caring less and less. It's not that they haven't cared. It's that they've been forced to think more broadly about, where they're going to get tech talent from. But even if you look at the Stack Overflow survey from last year, surveying 100,000 developers. They found that in 36% of cases, people working as professional software developers did not have formal computer science backgrounds. And so there's a lot of, there you go, there's a lot of adjacency, a lot of, folks coming from engineering or various different backgrounds and moving into the field. So I don't think that the non-traditional path is something that hasn't existed for a long period of time. But I do think sort of the formalization of a non-traditional path is something that took place probably from about 2012, which was sort of the genesis of the coding bootcamp industry. So to get to your point, what is it that we bring differently to the industry? Well, when we started Tech Elevator in 2015, there were already 69 operating coding bootcamps in the country. And so we said, look, we really like what's being done on the coasts. We really like this approach, this sort of short form, intensive on-ramp to careers in software development. But we see some opportunities to improve what's being done. And the first thing was,
because that's anything 101. If you can't do it better, why do it?
Why do it?
Yeah.
Why are you going to enter as the
make it suck less? So we talk about it all the time.
Why are you going to enter as the 69th boot camp in the industry and do exactly the same as the 68 folks who've done it before you? So the first thing that we said was, look, at the end of the day, what are people coming to these short form technical training programs for? Yes, they're coming to learn how to code, but really they're coming to get a job.
Jobs.
That's the first thing. So you got to match the technical requirements of the job opportunity, but you also need to navigate the hiring process.
I just looked up software on Indeed.com in Detroit. It says 4,800 openings. Granted, I don't think they're all coding, right? Some of them might be like account management or
QA or
Right. But there's 5,000 open positions right now in software jobs in Detroit.
Yeah. I mean, so, when we came to Detroit, we looked at the supply-demand mismatch here. Last year, according to Burning Glass, there were 20,500 software developer positions advertised in 2018.
Well, and you mentioned 2012. I mean, and that's when we started noticing the shift in the market. Like, so from 2008 up until then, it was all job seekers that were beating down our doors. When's your next event? When's your next event? When's your next event? Fall of 2012 is when it started to change, and it started to become the recruiters that were like, hey, having a hard time finding people. When's your next event?
And now there's another shift where neither one of them are showing up because everyone's working. The recruiters know this. And if you're coming to one of our events, they think they're advertising that they're looking for a job and they're happy where they are. So we're in a down now when it comes to our events, but that's all right. That's fine.
So I have a ton of friends who are recruiters. I don't begrudge how well they're doing financially. Back in Cleveland, they're buying houses on the lake. They are making hay while the sun is shining. But they'll be the first to admit that all they're doing is facilitating a game of musical chairs, right? Yep. So it is a zero-sum game where one company needs talent, they steal from another company. That company has a gap, they steal from another company. And all we're doing right now is literally wasting millions of dollars in Detroit, billions of dollars nationally, and we're producing zero value in the economy by poaching talent.
I've heard it time and time again from them that my ideal candidate is already sitting in a chair somewhere.
Yeah. So our position is this. In communities like Detroit, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, there are people who are smart. They have the cognitive ability to do this work. We can identify them through aptitude testing, behavioral interviewing, put them through an intensive reskilling process, and then connect them to the opportunities. And when we can do that, we can activate the workforce in a community that already exists, right? So Amazon came through the Midwest and it winked at a couple folks, but ultimately it said, we're going to the East Coast. Thanks very much. And in every rejection,
they don't want you.
and it was about infrastructure and incentives, and everyone put their best foot forward. But ultimately what they did was they said it's about talent. And what, New York and DC are doing is nothing, better necessarily than Detroit or Cleveland or Pittsburgh. They're just magnets. They're tech talent magnets. And so they got the play. Their universities are producing the same crappy percentages of CS grads. They're just drawing more people in. And so what I'm really excited about, what we've been able to accomplish, is instead of saying to the universities, hey, just produce double the talent, triple the talent, quadruple the talent, actually there's tons of folks in the workforce who have the capability to do this. They just need to be unlocked and then reskilled. And that's been super exciting.
Well, and you talked about your interview process, which is one of the things that I thought was really interesting. And it was one of the better points of our conversation. So, I mean, talk a little bit about people getting into your programs.
So,
or more to the point, not.
We're not trying to be exclusive. What we're trying to make sure of is that we don't go down the same path as a lot of for-profit educators who sort of promise everything and deliver very little. And
University of Phoenix. Did I say that out loud?
They're not a sponsor, right?
No. I don't even
promise everything. We deliver nothing.
Do they exist anymore?
Yes. No, they're still very much in business. ITT Tech shut down.
I see. ITT shut down.
Corinthian colleges shut down. Our position is this. I don't want to accept anybody's money to come into the program if I don't fundamentally believe that we can be successful with them, right? So our obligation in the enrollment process is to only accept people who have the highest chances of being successful. So how do we do that? There are really sort of two components that go into acceptance. Aptitude. So we test that through problem solving testing, aptitude testing, problem solving, pattern matching, logic, reasoning, various different ways of sort of testing for that. And then we also do behavioral interviewing. So we look for sort of key behavioral attributes that align with success in the field, but also are going to enhance people's chance of going through the program. So we take people through this intake process and ultimately accept a small portion of the folks who kind of initially take our aptitude test. And the reason for that is we have to be fully committed that somebody's going to be successful from the outset. And so making sure that we have the right raw material is absolutely critical to be able to deliver the outcomes that we've been able to deliver. And we're really proud of our outcomes. They're audited. We're the number one performing boot camp in the country. We have a 91% job placement rate and 92% graduation rate. And these folks are being hired by companies like Progressive Insurance and Kroger Technologies and FedEx and Dick's Sporting Goods and, JP Morgan Chase and Highland Software. So it's pretty exciting to be able to create these transformations, or at least to sort of participate in changing people's life trajectories through upskilling and reskilling.
And that's one of the things I wanted to touch on, because to me it's most important, and that's one of the conversations I've had in the past with boot camps and whatnot, is the cart and the horse, right? You graduated 50, 70, 80 people, but if you're not getting that pull, right, talk to me about how you're working in conjunction with those hiring companies and are you trying to steer talent that way, like saying, hey, you might want to learn Java instead of C# because this company is actively looking? Or I guess talk to me about through that process.
Well, so we teach Java and C#.NET. And the reason we teach those is those are the predominant languages of companies throughout the Midwest.
Sure. That's been the running joke. Recruiter, who are you hiring? Java, .NET, mobile app dev, no shit. Like, what else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, what we're really trying to produce is a programmer. It just so happens that the syntax that we're teaching them are just more aligned with the job needs in the market.
Well, yeah, I mean, and foundationally, and that's one of the nice things is once you learn an object-oriented programming language, it's kind of like learning one of the Romance languages. Like once you learn Italian, French and Spanish come kind of easy, or one of those other three. And it's the same thing. Like once you understand the fundamental concepts of it's easier. Well, it's not easy, but it's easier to hop into others.
Yeah. And that's really sort of proving you can code, proving you can learn how to learn, and sort of get over that sort of cognitive hump, if you will, to get into the field. The rest of the languages come more easily after that. So, Progressive Insurance is our largest hiring partner in Cleveland. They're a .NET shop. They've actually hired more of our Java graduates. And those Java graduates are doing just fine as .NET programmers. We've had .NET programmers learning how to code in Ruby. We've taken Java folks who are now coding in Python. I mean, really, the difference maker is can you code or can you not? Like, and from a cognitive ability standpoint, that's the hump you get over. And what we tell our graduates is, look, what you know coming out of our program pales in comparison to what you don't know. And so your strongest ability is actually going to be the ability to learn and continue to adapt and evolve.
Yeah, and to know that you don't know.
Yeah, and the humility and teaching them how to learn, teaching the resources that they need to sort of tap into. So that's been really gratifying. I mean, I was just chatting to one of our graduates who was one of our first placements at Progressive Insurance, and we really had to sort of twist their arm to make that first hire. They have a multi-million-dollar college recruiting program, and we got a lucky break because a kid from San Diego didn't want to leave his girlfriend and move to Cleveland. I don't know which one it was. They didn't want to leave their girlfriend, didn't want to be some combination of both. Anyway, we got a lucky break and they said, all right, send us a candidate. That candidate we placed 3 years ago, and that candidate 3 years on is operating at a 6-year developer level at Progressive Insurance. And the difference for them is, when our average student is 31 years old, so they've had, on average 8 years of career experience, right. 8 years of a career that they haven't really been passionate about, 8 years where there's absolutely no correlation between effort in and growth and career opportunities. And all of a sudden you enter the field of technology. It's meritocratic. What you learn, how fast you grow has real, impact on your career trajectory. And that's exactly what happened with this one, candidate. Now they're soaring, and it's incredibly gratifying to see, that progression.
So when are you coming to Detroit?
Okay, so I'm here right now, physically, but right. Tech Elevator, we're in the process right now of enrolling students. So our initial cohort starts in May, towards the end of May.
So an already full? Like, should people be looking for
No, people
information?
should absolutely apply.
Okay.
We've got folks already enrolled, but there's still spaces in the class. And it's going to be launching out of Tech Town.
Okay.
Which we're really excited to participate in the Tech Town community. So we have a great space in Tech Town. We have access to a phenomenal facility, a great community, as well as, just a really good group of folks. And so it's a great chance for us to sort of plug in right at the heart of the entrepreneurial ecosystem, the tech-based ecosystem here as well.
So, I mean, I guess let's get to the crux of it. If you're afraid, let's say, hey, I'm going to just a complete dead end. When we did our career academy, we really geared after people that were displaced or retail, like all the Macy's closings, and people that are stuck at a Best Buy or something. Talk to me, I guess.
Well, we were also going for, hey, wind up in a help desk gig, not necessarily a dev job.
Right. And that's what I'm trying to get at is what's the barrier of entry for, is this something that, hey, I've been a truck driver for 10 years. I want to be a coder. Because we talked about the thing with West Virginia turning minors into coders. Yeah. Right. Is it, I don't want to say, is it that easy? Because it's a lot of work, but, where do you got to be from a, willing to learn level to grasp something like this?
Well, I would definitely say if you want to get into the field of technology and you want to be a software developer and you don't like to learn stuff, then don't even bother starting, right? So that's my first thing. What I would say is, we've seen folks as young as 18 all the way up to 62, but the sweet spot for us is that sort of 25 to, 40 age range. That's sort of the bulk of students come in. So they're sort of, they're already a few years into their career. They're kind of frustrated with where it's going. They're looking for more of a challenge. They know that they're smarter than the work they're doing. They know that they've got greater potential, but they're not realizing it. So what they do is they'll go to techelevator.com. They'll take our online aptitude test. It's free. They have 25 minutes to take it. It's just
so going to go
12
take that
questions.
test.
No, I'm going to take it.
And then that will give them an early indication. So what we'll, from that we'll say, look, hey, it looks like you might have, what it takes to be a software developer.
It's not one of those.
You take the next step.
3 baseballs equals 30. 2 bananas and a baseball equals 20. Like, and then the baseball plus the banana with the guy like times like
multiplied by the shoelace.
I don't know if there are baseballs and bananas in this, but there are a few sort of head scratches, So, and look, if you enjoy that kind of stuff, if you enjoy problem solving, if you enjoy bending your noodle a little bit, having to, be challenged, this could be a really good field for you to go into. So the other things that we do is, we'll invite you to come to an open house, visit the space, meet some of our team, just get a feel for if it's right for you. We do not want somebody to start in the program if they're not ready. Okay. So it is full time in person. It's 14 weeks. You might do 50 to 60 hours a week, to do this over that 14-week period. So you're going to work your tail off to do that. But the end result is great.
I would say you're cramming an associate degree into 3 3/4 months.
Yeah. I mean, what we've experienced with our hiring partners is they'll hire a Tech Elevator graduate head and shoulders over an associate's degree. And actually we are a viable alternative and we're very additive to computer science degrees coming out of area programs. And that's super exciting. There are really smart folks who have the ability to add value to a company. And I think we're showing that we can do that.
So how do you answer the question? Cause this is the one thing with these that it always like, okay, you're not going to be able to do anything else for 3.5 months.
Yeah.
Like, is that a hard conversation with something like, you're not going to have a day job while you're doing this?
No. Yeah. I mean, that's why we say, look, if you're not ready, don't start, take your time, get ready. At graduation, we always thank the families. We always thank the, significant others, the husband, the wife, the girlfriend, the boyfriend, because they've had to pick up a lot of slack around the house,
And he's crying because he had to sell all his G.I. Joes,
It's something where, you need to be fully committed. So how do you do that? We have about 75% of our students have quit jobs to come and do the program. So they basically say, look, I know where I'm going or the trajectory I'm on is not where I want to be. Stop the bus. I'm getting off. I'm reskilling. How do they do that financially? So the program itself is $15,500, which is, not an insignificant amount of money. So we work with, we're approved, with Michigan Works as a training provider. We also have some private lenders who will help our students out based on our track record. And then they'll receive payments when somebody's making more money afterwards. So we always try and find ways to make it about the ability to do the program, not the means to pay for the program. Having said that, our average salary following the program is $61,000 and 91% of our students place within 180 days, 81% place in 90 days. So if you don't change your cost of living, if you don't go out and buy yourself a fancy car,
right,
and sign up, for all these different subscriptions and whatever, you can pay this thing back in a year. And just to put that in context, the average student debt in the US right now takes 13.7 years to repay. It's one of the reasons, millennials aren't buying houses is because of that debt. And so, I'm actually really proud of that. Like, we're very proud of the return on investment that we're able to deliver for people for their education dollars.
So we're going to take the aptitude test and we'll report back in 2 weeks. Is that
See
fair?
how you do.
We use fake names and see if we get a call back.
Right. I'm going to do mine as Dave Phillips. Then we'll see what.
No. Why'd you do that to me?
Oh, that guy's a dipshit. Anthony, it was always good seeing you. TechElevator.com. Welcome to Detroit. Look forward to having you as part of the tech community and seeing you at events and whatnot. And
thanks, guys. I'll just say we are just super excited to be here. This town is phenomenal, and we're very excited to just participate in the community.
No, we're big fans of your go-to-market and your culture and all the things you explained to us when we had lunch a couple weeks ago. That's why you're here, and that's why we're definitely going to root what you guys are doing. So appreciate having you on. Appreciate having you in studio.
Thanks.
So hey, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to be back. Andre Arbelaez, HC3. This is the IT and the D show.
See you in a couple.
IT and the D. Read, meet, listen. Networking Detroit. one beer at a time.
Hi, I'm Brittany Daniel from The Game, and you're listening to IT in the D Show.
ITinthed.com.
Welcome back. This is segment 3, episode 287 of the one and only IT in the D Show, broadcasting live here in Studio One, Podcast Detroit, beautiful Royal Oak, Michigan. Bob, the sales guy. Dave, the geek. Randy, I do the Twitters. Find us online, ITinthed.com. Now, you, sir, have been a patient human being, but we are going to introduce very quickly, nonetheless, the illustrious one, Mr. Andre Arbelaez, founder of HC3, which is the Hispanic C-Suite Corporate Council. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well and happy to be here. I think this is my 4th visit on the show.
Yeah, you're first. You were with us down at the Russell.
Yeah,
you came to one in Ferndale.
Yeah,
and then you've been here
before.
Yeah.
I would say you, sir, are a traveling fool.
Yes,
you are in the
titanium elite,
dude. It's like we check into like crappy dive bars everywhere, and he's like, "Oh, hey, I'm hanging with the CIO of the United States of America hey,
on the beach and whatever." It's always on a beach somewhere.
As they say, somebody's got to do it.
Yeah. So, I mean, talk to me. When I originally met you, you were heading up high tech.
Yes,
and then you went through.
So I'll explain. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was on the board of high tech for 10 years, and we had term limits. And I was president of that organization for 7 years, and we were able to collect truly some of the best talent in corporate America. I always have a picture I'm very proud of where I have the CIO of San Francisco, the CIO of Facebook, the CIO of Hewlett Packard, the CIO of Cisco, and the CIO of AT&T standing up, and the one guy on his knees for the posing for the picture was the CIO of the United States of America. And it is it's that kind of talent on top of supporting an equal amount of incredible women technologists in corporate America of Hispanic descent, and really creating this profile and the theme of pushing up and pulling up to show there's great technology talent across America, let alone around the world. And it is something that it's in that model of if I can see it, I can be it. And it is something that inspires a lot of kids. We built a foundation out of it. The first year we just very quickly put together. Now we're raising about $350,000 for scholarships for Hispanic students going into computer science.
Well, you just dropped a stat during the break saying Silicon Valley is 4% Hispanic?
Yeah. So the demographics with the diversity communities are 4% Hispanics, 2% African Americans, and they have been pretty much flatlined, since this is a topic. There's a lot of talk in the game, but there's not so much action. So it is on top of corporations to find unique ways to aspire that talent, and across America, and particularly the Hispanic community being the number one minority demographic in the United States. It now represents 58 million and growing fast because we like to drink tequila too. So, we have a pop.
Nothing wrong with that.
We represent over 18% and growing a percentage of the population. Some statistics just came out this past week. We are at the lowest poverty rate ever in the history of the Hispanic community in the United States since it was first tracked since 1972.
Isn't it the U.S. in general?
It is. We as Americans of Hispanic descent are benefiting from it.
Sure.
We assimilate extremely well in the community. And although we're not a homogeneous group, we're monolithic because we have different cultures, different backgrounds, different influences, but there's some very traditional characteristics. Catholic-driven, hardworking, loyal, family-driven, very nuclear family, and we're not only loyal in our lives with our families, but we're loyal to our companies, and so that creates a great opportunity to get so many incredible star executives out there to be highly engaged. And I'm very much engaged with something called the Latino Corporate Directors Association. So we're moving up through the economic and career food chain all the way up to jumping on corporate boards.
Well, it's one of those things. If you would ask anyone that works at any, Microsoft, Cisco, anyone saying, did you know? I don't think anyone would. The people that that you just dropped that saying, hey, they're the CIOs, the CTOs of these major corporations. I don't think anybody realizes that.
It's always a tough story to tell in mainstream America. We work really hard within the Hispanic media streams to really talk about this because there's so much greatness. But unfortunately these days, as President Obama once said, if it bleeds, it leads. So it's just not a very great copy, as they say. But it is something that we constantly push within the school systems, within the universities, to really inspire these young kids through different organizations across the country that there is not only in technology, but in finance and accounting and in the legal world. We have many, many different versions of high tech, the IT Technology Council, across many different fields. And now what I've done is taken that since I termed out of high tech, really focused that on the C-suite. The African American community has done a great job collecting their C-suite executives and 2 levels below. I mimicked an organization called the Executive Leadership Council, which has been a very successful organization in the African American community. But they have 3 African American executives in the Fortune 500. I'm very proud to say we have 14. All right, and then we're just started looking. And I've been working with some Hispanic publications all over the country to really bring these together as a collective. Because sometimes you have to deal with certain narratives that are in politics, which sometimes, unfortunately, confuse issues. And so the only thing you can really do to be
so you're not getting all these CIOs together and say a caravan.
Yeah, that's right.
And go.
For caravanning to DC. But it is interesting.
Oh, yeah. You brought that up.
Yeah, I know.
That just
I just thought, I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah. I get your good joke, Dave. It's all good. But it is something that you constantly have to reinforce. And a lot of us, and one of the big problems I see still in just plain America is that we don't push our kids in the fields that make money.
Oh, I sure as hell am.
Yeah. Well, we don't.
I'm just saying.
We push kids into nursing, into some traditional fields, but we all know that the highest earning fields all come from the world of STEM.
Yep.
And that's where, as the society has changed and we're in this information age, we really got to drive these kids in these directions. And it doesn't matter the culture. We know this is our economy in this digital age. So we're very fortunate at the Hispanic C-Suite Corporate Council that we've taken some former people in the technology world. For example, the head of the CEO of AT&T Business is a gentleman named Thaddeus Arroyo. He used to be the CIO of AT&T globally.
Mm-hmm.
Then he went down to Mexico and became CEO of AT&T Mexico, took on one of the world's richest men, Carlos Slim, and, totally built a juggernaut down there through some acquisitions and came back. And now he's running a $70 billion division that just acquired Time Warner.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And so he's been very busy with that. But this is the kinds of executives we're dealing with. Or the CEO of ADP, the CEO of United Airlines, Oscar Munoz. There's all across America. And then probably the most famous one that some of us have heard of is this little company out of Seattle called Amazon.
Who?
That Jeff Bezos, he's actually of Cuban descent. He was adopted at 4 years old by a Cuban family. And we're bringing out the Cubanness out of him. So we've been working with him, and his team to get him much more visible in our community.
Sure.
From that perspective. But it's all the purpose is to show those young kids, wow, if he can do it, I can do it. And a lot of these people we're talking about didn't start with anything. So they weren't, gifted money or, it is just hard work, the American ethic, and which we all endear and live every day, and really bringing people together and being much more of a voice, not only economically but also politically too.
Well, and so there was 2 numbers that you threw out, which was 18% of the population, 4% of the tech world.
Yeah.
Why do you think? I mean, is that the reason why the disparity is there? Is because whether it's building the echo chamber and like attracts like, and people not knowing that that's an option kind of thing?
It's a combination of multiple issues. It's not a simple answer because if you were to break the Hispanic, if you were to break the Hispanic population, they're kind of fall in two groups according to the Pew Research Center, and it's based upon strategic and transactional. And what we find out is that the transactional community comes from Central America. They've come up to the United States literally on foot or on bus and have really done – this is Central America and Mexico through.
Right.
And this represents about 63% of the Hispanic community. They go into jobs that are very family-driven, restaurants, migratory work, field work, that kind of – and everything is transactional. And often college is not a push in the household.
Right.
It's taken some time for the second generation to do that. But the first generation was, no daughter, you stay here, you work here with a family.
Right.
Stay work in a family restaurant, that kind of thing. The other group is, the strategic group is we like to say the South Americans. We flew over. We had to come over. We came over pretty much pre-educated or some culture that was already educated in that process. And we saw that in the high-tech group. We saw a lot of that community step into corporate jobs much faster and be able to climb much faster. I was just down in Cincinnati with last night with the CIO of Hershey's, and also the CIO of Point Blank, which is a gun store. And both these guys came from those cultures. They were pre-educated, from Peru. The CIO Constellation Brands, for example, which is one of my favorite companies because they're heavily investing in cannabis. And as a Colombian, that's everybody wins. So it is from that purpose, we're seeing a lot of great movement in those types of positions. Even at the CIO of Procter & Gamble.
Okay.
He's from Ecuador, Javier Polit. So there is great diversity in these positions that come from South America. So they fly much faster at a pace. So that's what helps skews the numbers, but it's also culture that I can do this. And there's great organizations across America that are helping put a spotlight, say, through the Hispanic Scholarship Fund, through an organization called the Hispanic Associations of Colleges and Universities, and a multitude of other organizations that are really driving the tech industry forward. So my experience with that, and now we're moving it to CEOs to make that come in, because CEOs have voices. When we know in corporate America, you can't say anything. And they want a voice politically because they're not happy with what's going on. So they're looking for a mechanism to say things without having to say
without
directly.
Actually saying things. Yeah.
So that's where I come in, because I'm the guy I'm always the guy that's always known as, I'm glad you said it. Because they can't. So,
well, no, so, and that's, you touched on something that people don't even realize, when you say the word Hispanic, that's a very broad brush.
Yeah.
Like there are a lot of backgrounds and a lot of ethnicities and a lot of points of origin that fall under that umbrella.
Yes. And, there's words like Latino that are interchangeable. The young millennials are trying to push this Latinx thing, which I'm not a big fan of at all.
What is that?
Latinx. That's a new branding of the community to get all the mixtures and all the, politically, social justice warriors and engagement, which I'm not a fan of. I'm more about keeping it simple. I like to say we're Hispanic between 9 and 5, and at 5 o'clock we're Latino. Keep it simple, and it's because we love being here. We love living life. We love having no different than any one of us here at this table,
right?
And probably most all the listeners. It is that engagement of, we are Americans of Hispanic descent, and that's the order it's got to be.
Absolutely. Yeah. Once you're here, that's what you are.
Yeah, and
or once you're a citizen, that's yeah.
No, you don't even have to be a citizen.
My parents are immigrants. They didn't even want us to say they're German. We're Americans, period. And the old country gave them a lot of flack for that.
Dude, I told you, my great-grandmother would beat the crap out of her kids if she caught them speaking Italian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we do know one thing, as we had with, talking with Anthony here about it is the fastest way to progress is by far in the STEM fields. And we've seen that in technology. And it's just that adaptability and that aptitude to move forward like that that's where it all connects.
Speaking of assimilation, Anthony needs to lose his accent, by the way.
Desperately trying to keep it.
It's hard. It's always hard to follow a British guy because you always seem dumber.
Yeah, totally.
I'm actually dumber than everybody, but I'm assumed to be smarter, so I'm going to.
So we need to have more people from Alabama on the show so that we sound smarter.
So besides connecting, all the sea levels and whatnot, and promoting, I guess, to the youth, what's your primary goal and function of what you're doing out there?
Well, the goal is to be, very visible. I've been very fortunate. Within 1 week of announcing this organization, I got a call from the special assistant to the president to go speak at the White House with the Secretary of the Treasury.
Did you get Chick-fil-A or Burger King when you got there? Sorry, I had to go there.
No.
I had to go there.
We didn't win the championship football game, but it is, it was incredible to be with other Hispanic leaders and working with the Treasurer of the United States, which is actually a Latina. So Trump does have, Hispanics in his cabinet, and the Treasurer and the Secretary of the Treasury, Steve Mnuchin, and really engage and talk about what are issues important to the Hispanic community. 1 month after that, I was speaking in New York City at United Nations alongside Julian Castro, who's now running for president of the United States.
We're not. What are you doing here?
I've been very fortunate, and it is. And I take
we're the after 5 o'clock.
This is the group we drink Pabst with. Yes, but this is
we get the German schnapps.
Yeah, that's right. But it is, it's constantly telling the message that there is greatness in our communities, and it's greatness when we assimilate and work well together. It's unfortunate but I have to put the name Hispanic up front. But at the end of the day, this is about just being great Americans and being happy to be here and propagating our message and propagating when we come from cultures that have had issues like Venezuela, for example, that, are going through a terrible crisis right now, to show why, let's not make those mistakes again here. And, even though probably the one leading the charge is of Hispanic descent there out of Brooklyn, it is something that we need to be very sensitive to. And we can share those experiences here and say, let's not do that. Let's do this, what we're doing. And the free market enterprise and American exceptionalism is what this is all about.
Huh.
How's that?
So what's next?
Who knows?
I mean, you're going to be on a plane somewhere warm. I know that.
Yeah, Usually that's what I do. Yeah.
There's I have two. You're one of the two friends I have that I vicariously live my travel. Like Brad Mitchell's the other one.
Yep.
Where he's in Prague or some sexy European, winning an award for some hosting.
Right. Every other week.
Right.
Yeah.
Literally every other week.
I've been very fortunate. I am being kind of recruited to do a speaking tour, because I always like to be that guy in the room that kind of says things that need to be said but aren't often said. I've been working on a topic called Why Diversity Ends at 5 p.m. And it is dealing with the difficult issues that during the workday, our cultures and our corporations right away teach us how to be, very culturally accepting of many different people. But the moment we get in our cars, we turn off those filters and start making, let our biases come into play. And
that'd be a good TEDx talk, actually.
Interesting. Yeah.
And whether it's getting in our car and I've gotten many people to admit they play a game in their car right once they get, who is that crazy person driving in front of me?
Oh, I do that every day.
Lane? And
I do it every day.
Yeah. And then you turn on the news at 6 p.m. and the first 7 to 8 minutes, you're being engaged by the media to develop even further biases because
this minority did this, that minority did that.
Not only that, please help us find that minority.
Right.
And here's a drawing of what they are. And obviously in Detroit, you get a certain image here. Whether you're in Dallas or Phoenix and Houston, you get a different image. But, it is.
I'm sorry, you fit the description.
Yes, exactly. So that is something that we are forced to turn our biases on. And the goal is to say, how do we deal with that? And how do we have honest conversations about that? Because we don't. We go in our tribes, we hang into our different communities, and we don't. What we do between 9 and 5 is not what happens between 5 and till the next morning.
Yeah.
And we do Hispanic community clusters. Here in Detroit is a great example where we have all these communities, they cluster together.
Yeah, you got Southwest. Yeah.
And now it's a matter of how we can better integrate and be that melting pot that when my parents came to the United States, be that and not this divided country that we're constantly in.
My grandfather, when he came here with my dad and my uncle, moved to Skokie, Illinois. Now, if you know what Skokie, Illinois is, it was it's pretty much the biggest Jewish population in Chicago.
Isn't that where the Nazis and
the
Blues Brothers were
march.
from?
Illinois Nazis. No, but it was the biggest congregation of Jewish people in Illinois, in Chicago. And here's my grandfather, Bernhard Woltenspiel, trying to assimilate, and I'm American now. Mm-hmm. When you're thrust in a situation like that, you're forced to.
You are. And I mean, I've had the great pleasure of, a few years ago, it actually came up on Facebook Memories. I was at the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C., meeting with the ambassador. Ironically, all of them were Latin, and it was all, and so it was a great mix because they were all they were Jewish from Argentina, Jewish from Ecuador, but they were the ambassador to the United States. And I remember sitting in his office with about 9 people, in a bunch of couches just talking and going, they're really no different than us. It's once you take off those images that sometimes you're fed in propaganda, everybody, they're driven to the same goals we want: a happy life, pursuit of happiness.
Leave me alone.
Yeah. You do your thing, I'll do my thing. And it is, and if we can drink together, the better.
Yeah.
And that's something where I think what did Homer Simpson always say? Alcohol, the cause,
the cause
and the solution,
and solution to all of life's problems. Yeah.
But I mean, if we had more of that mindset, we'd be a much better place.
Need more Oktoberfest.
Yes,
the Germans got it right on that front.
Well, we got Carnival going on right now.
Yeah.
So it is. We do know how to party too. So, but a lot of it has been driven towards what we're doing, and obviously every day we're dealing with the politics of it, and I'm very heavily engaged in that process. And I'll be in Washington, D.C. real quick in a few weeks at a legislative summit. I just was told today that I'm on the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce Foundation Board with several other key executives across corporate America, and really showing that engagement is there. And what's more surprising out of all what's happening, just maybe to leave on the last note, is that our community in 2018 voted a 70-30 split, Democrats versus Republicans. The latest Marist NPR polls now has it at 50-50.
Really?
So that is something that even with just to let you think about that, with the talk of the wall, the percentage rose 30%, 20 to 30%.
Wow.
So just to give you an idea that we treasure what we are, and we want to keep that culture here. We love America.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Best taco in Detroit.
God, there's some new ones opening up. I'll say this. The best taco places are always where true Mexicans are cooking it.
Oh, that's that's any ethnic restaurant.
Well, you see sometimes some wannabes. And
that little hole in the wall in Southwood. What is it? Taqueria El Rey, I think it is.
Yeah, there's El Rancho.
Cash only.
There's also good. Yeah.
So good.
I'm a big fan of El Rancho in Southwest Detroit. So, no, but there's some great places.
No, when you go to sushi and there's real live Asians there eating, it's good. That's usually that's my barometer. Yeah. There's a real Asian here eating, and they don't hate it. Andre, appreciate the time spent and the insight. If you want to find you online, Andre Arbelaez on LinkedIn or H3C.
HC3,
HC3, yeah.
Sorry, I'm the old HP thing. Yeah. Sorry. But yeah.
HC3global.com.
HC3global.com. Awesome. Andre, honestly, good to see you again. Look forward to the next time we have drinks together.
Absolutely.
And next time you're in Detroit for 2 days. I'll take one of them. But yeah, this is going to wrap things up for episode 287 of the IT and the D Show. I'd like to thank Anthony Hughes from Tech Elevator, Andre Arbelaez from HC3. Also like to thank our sponsors, The Breach Podcast and Lenovo. Thank you for keeping the lights on. We sincerely appreciate you. On behalf of Bob, Dave, and Randy, do us all a favor. Drink up your drinks, get your phone numbers. You don't got to go home. You just got to get the hell out of here. See you next week. Drive careful. Beat it.
See ya.
The emergency destruct system is now activated.
Conan, what is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of your women.
Long live Flash. You've saved your ass. Have a nice day.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Nice shooting, son. What's your name? Murphy. Make the run. The run.
Game over, man. Game over.
It's over, Johnny. It's over. Nothing is over. Nothing. You just don't turn it off.
I can't say no, and I don't really want to, so.
Well, especially with the back doors open.
Yo! Hold up! Time out! Time out! Y'all take a chill. You need to cool that shit out. And that's the double truth, Ruth.
Bob loves it in the camp.
I hope this was as much fun for you as it was for me.
That's why I like it in the can.
To own the truth.
Fear me.
My job is to make sure this program is morally upright and cultural and wholesome.
Shut up, Mimsy! Shut up, Mimsy! Shut up, Mimsy!
Why would, Buick put their cars next to, the Bentleys? Why? That's not marketing. The alphabet. It's brilliant. Yeah, I can't take that position. That analogy sucks because it's right. Because you're getting your 8-track tuned up. Are we at a break yet? Yeah, so now I'm just doing stupid stuff to make me laugh. Venture capital is not the end game.
When are we going to talk about me?
Jane, you ignorant slut. It's my show. I can say what I want.
Kiss my ass, go home, unplug, get off the goddamn internet. You are everything that is wrong with the internet right now.
You're so white right now.
I'm the whitest guy in the room. Just explain it to me. I love this city. I was banging on the wang.
Really? Should we talk about this? Tag team it. Should I keep going or should I stop?
Can I just say, it's been great being on a show that talks about Mickey Rooney dying for 20 seconds and then poop for 10 minutes.